Right. Hello everyone, Fred here, and this is basically just a quick video. I basically just finished recording the top 10, and there was a thing in that video that I wanted to kind of go over, but I didn't want to do it in that video because that video was long enough already, and I really wanted to tell this story because I thought it was funny, and I wanted to see if any of you had any kind of similar stories, or basically stories on this subject in general. I would love to hear them. So basically, this is basically in regards to my Sonic 3 game, and how because I mentioned how I acquired the Sonic and Knuckles part of the game, because we didn't buy it, and I was talking about the code that we followed as children when we borrowed games from each other. It was a very strict code, and so I wanted to tell you guys how I got this game, and I thought it was funny. It may not be funny to some people. It's funny to me. It's still funny to me. So from the top, as I mentioned, I got the game from a friend, and then I can't really say we were friends. We were just acquaintances at best. So how I got the Sonic and Knuckles part of the game is through this kid. We were at lunch in school, right? And I don't know if he was hungry or what, I don't know, but the menu for the day, we were having chicken nuggets and fries. So anyone who's familiar with school lunches back in the day, those were the days. It was pizza day was a popular one, and chicken nuggets day was probably the second most popular. Like, those were the days like lunch was popping, like everyone was on board. So this day in particular was chicken nuggets day, and he had already eaten his chicken nuggets and his fries, and I guess he was still hungry. So he's like, man, I really want some more nuggets. And I had just sat down at the table, and now mind you, I had already borrowed this game from this kid. So he looks over to me and he's like, hey, Octavius, if you, he was talking to Octavius, you all know. I wasn't there because I wasn't created yet. So he was talking to Octavius, and he's like, hey, Octavius, if you give me your nuggets, you can keep the Sonic and Knuckles game that you're borrowing from me. And I was like, yo, what? Are you serious? And he said, yeah. I was like, are you? And come on. I mean, I knew I wasn't privy to money because we were children. I think this was in middle school. Was it middle school? It might have been grade school. I'm not even really sure. We were young. That's all I know. So I know, and I knew games were expensive. I knew they weren't cheap. And to trade your game for 6 nuggets, I thought was absurd, even as a child. But like, I was like, look, man, if you're serious, you can take these nuggets. You could even take the fries. But if you're serious, we can do this. And we shook hands. He was like, yeah, you can keep it. So we shook hands and we went our ways. I was like, sweet. I get to keep this game. And it was good. It was cool. For, I would say, maybe 6 months or so. It was a done deal. Like, no one spoke about it. We saw each other. We didn't mention it. Like I said, we weren't friends. So we didn't like talk to each other every day. We'd see each other, just say what's up and keep moving. But yeah, I say about, maybe it might have been longer or shorter. I can't really remember. But it's a while passed, and he comes back. It's lunchtime again, and he walks up to me. He's like, "Hey, Octavius." And I'm like, "Hey, what's up, man?" And he's like, "Yeah, so about that the Sonic and Knuckles game, I'm gonna need that back." And I was like, "Wait, what?" He's like, "Man, we had an agreement, man." Like, what do you mean you need it back? He's like, "Yeah, he's like, come on, man, like 6 nuggets for a video game." And I looked at him, and this is probably the most gangster stuff I have ever done in my life. Like, I'm not really proud about it, but I looked at him and I was like, "Look, man, a deal's a deal." We shook hands. It's like, I'm sorry, you You brought the deal to me. Like, so what? If I give you the game back, like, where's my nuggets? Like, I can't get that back, but you get your game back? And I was fully prepared for him to come back with this retort. Well, the next day, we have nuggets. I'll give you your nuggets and fries back, and then you give me my game back. I was fully prepared for him to say this. But he never said it. He never brought that argument up, because I would have said, okay. You know, that's a fair deal. Like, I would have just taken it as 6 nuggets to basically extend the borrowing time of the game, and I would have shook hands with him, and I would have gave him his game back if he had given me his nuggets and fries, like on the next lunch day or whatever. But he never said it, and I wasn't going to bring it up because I wanted to keep the game. I knew it was a dumb deal. I knew it was a dumb deal at the beginning when we initiated the deal. I was like, sweet, like I get a game basically for free. And at the time, I knew it wasn't him, like, coming to me, you know, wanting the game back. I knew he himself did not care. It was his parents. I know it. Like, no one ever said anything, but I knew. Like, his parents bought that game, not him. And his parents probably came like, hey, where's Sonic and Knuckles? Like, where's this at? It's been like 6 months and I haven't seen it. Like, maybe his mom or his dad wanted to play it, or maybe a sibling, but it wasn't there. And he had to tell them, I let someone borrow it. He probably didn't tell him you let him borrow for nuggets or whatever. Like that would get me fried for my parents. So I'm sure it was his parents. Like, hey, we go get this game back. They probably knew one of his friends from school borrowed it, and I'm not sure what he told them when he went back empty-handed. He probably told them it was just lost or something. I don't know. But yeah, that's the story. I swear, at the time, I felt like I felt like a boss when I told him that. Like, look, you got your nuggets. Like, where's my nuggets? I get nuggets back. Maybe you get your game. Like, I didn't say that, but that's what I was thinking in my head. But I was like, yeah, man, we made a deal. A deal's a deal. Like, I can't help you. My hands are tied. Like, I could come up with a deal to give you your game back, but I didn't want to. I wanted to keep the game. So, yeah, to avoid keeping this from going longer, that's my story of how I acquired Sonic and Knuckles. And I really wanted to admit, like, that's the craziness of the code. Like, for you who grew up during that time, like, the code was respected amongst, at least I know with me and my network of kids. Like, for you kids who don't know today, back then, like, you know, games run online. You really had to trade them. Like, you know, like I said, we were all children, and parents weren't going to just buy every game that came out. And most of us, like, rental stores weren't really a thing back then either. So you really had to have a network of people to like try new games, or you would just play one game like nonstop. That's how most of us did back in the day, because we only had like a couple games, and the only way you could try new games was to trade it with like a neighbor or a friend or a family member. And for me, most of my network was just, you know, kids around the neighborhood. Like I say, we weren't all friends, but we all understood that we all wanted to play games, and the way to do that, inexpensive, like, you know, that wasn't expensive, was to trade or borrow, or, you know, you had like a little barter system, and it worked for a lot of kids. I know for my neighborhood, it was great, because, like I said, it was just this constant flow of new games. And, like, for most part, I didn't even know whose game I had. I just knew, you know, you got it from Frankie down the street, and then for said person to get their game back, all I knew was I had to get it back to Frankie, and then Frankie would get it back to whoever, and whoever would get it back to whoever. And, you know, it was just a long network of video game trading. Like, it was really sweet. I don't know if that still happens today. I doubt it does, because, you know, you have Steam, and games are super cheap these days, on the indie circuit anyway. But yeah, it was really cool. And if you played your cards right and you really knew how to trade, you could end up with some real sweet gems at the end of the day. And that's how I got Sonic Knuckles. So I just wanted to share that. quick little video. Like I said, thanks for watching. If you guys have any interesting stories on trading or video games like that back in the day, I would love to hear it. Thank you again, and thanks for watching. Take care.